NFL season here on Draftkings. You're here with me, Cody, from HideandSeek.com. Like always, we're going to get right into the main slate on Draftkings for this Sunday. We're going to find some really great value picks. We're going to find the studs that we've got to put in our lineup. And like always, the way I'm going to do this is run alongside my NFL DFS Week 9 value pick article on HideandSeek.com. The link to this is going to be in the description below. It's just a good way for me to stay on track, keep all my thoughts organized, and I put a lot of time and effort into this article. This took me all day yesterday. So it's kind of just an easier way for me to give you guys the good picks, really go into detail on some of these, and use some real strategy and some real research. So let's just get right into it, guys. No more talking from me. If you're on this video, it's because you want to play some DFS, you want to win some money. That's what we all want to do. Hopefully I can get you guys there. If I do, if you find something useful here, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel. You can follow us at HideandSeek on Twitter. HideandSeek.com has all our weekly rankings, has our DFS articles. It's got everything you need to get your teams right for Sunday. So on this main slate, we got 10 games. We got Chicago Buffalo, Tampa Bay Carolina, KC Cleveland, Jets Dolphins, Steelers Ravens, Lions Vikes, Atlanta Washington, Houston Denver, Chargers Seahawks, and the Rams Saints. This is going to be a great one, guys. 8-0 versus 6-1 down in the Bayou. So for these games, it's a little bit different than last week where half the games were over 50-point over-unders. This week we have a 37 over-under in Chicago Buffalo, and we only have 4 over 50. We got the Detroit-Minnesota game, 50.5. KC Cleveland, 51.5. Tampa Bay Carolina, 54. And the Rams Saints is a 60-point over-under. So basically, you guys know how I like to play this. I like to be in those high-scoring matchups. I'm going to have a lot of guys in the Saints-Rams game. I'm going to have guys in this Carolina-Bucks game. And I'll probably have some Chiefs. It's just how it goes, guys. You want to have guys that are scoring points, getting in the end zone, touching the ball a lot, playing at a fast pace. It's just how you win money in these. So this week we're going to do a cash lineup. My nuances between cash and tournament are pretty different. I still use my cash lineups in my tournament lineups, but with cash specifically, I definitely go more run-heavy approach. I almost always have 3 running backs rolled out, and I normally pay up at running back, save all my money at defense, tight end, and wide receivers. And quarterbacks normally middle of the road. It depends what I like. If there's a slam dunk play of the week, that's kind of what I play. I don't really care what I spend at quarterback. But if there's a slam dunk play at defense, it won't matter because I'm just going to go cheap defense. Almost always under 2,500. It's just how it ends up working for me. I'm putting out an article next week breaking down this year how much I've allocated salary-wise to each position. Just for myself, too, because I want to see what my tendencies look like and what's been most effective for me. We have new articles on the site right now talking about how many points should you get from your wide receivers in DFS based on salary, how many points should you get from running backs, how much do you spend on quarterbacks. We break down each position, how much they cost, and how many points they should be getting you in return. And I think that's a really big help on how to build these lineups. So getting right into it, like always, the way I like to start my lineups is defense first, tight end second, quarterback third, running backs fourth, find some wide receivers that I can fit. And then I run a quick lineup, and then I try to fit guys that I really like. If I have more money or less money, we'll do what we need to do to squeeze it in. So on defense this week, let's go right over to my article on Hide and Seek. Basically, I break down all my favorite plays this week. I give projections for each, and I even give you a sample lineup at the end of who you can use. Don't worry about it right now. Might look kind of similar when we make ours, but I want to go down to this defenses mark. I say, how I feel about defenses, save money and play the guys at home. We did a huge study this year on home-away splits, and it just showed that home defenses perform much better. If you want to check that out, it's on the site. But this week, I'm doing something different. There's one game in particular that I'm targeting, and it's defenses on both sides. It's this Houston-Denver game. We got Deshaun Watson not playing his best football right now. Will Fuller's out, and he's going into Denver. Denver has Von Miller and Bradley Chubb, And when you're Deshaun Watson, who likes to hold on the ball a bit too long, Von Miller should make you pay for that. That's why I like the Broncos at 2,300, and that's why I like the Texans on the other side of the game, is because I think this is going to be one of those games where the teams actually kind of struggle to score. If I look at the over-under, it's 46.5. I kind of like the under on that. Of course they can cover. They can go over, but I do think that both these defenses have a strong shot at putting up good points. Houston's been on tear. They're getting turnovers. They're getting sacks. They're getting touchdowns. And they're going up against Case Keenum. Case Keenum does a great job producing turnovers. So this is kind of where I'm looking. Initially, to start a lineup, I would want to go to Texans because I do prefer them a little bit. But I almost always prefer saving money at defense. And if it's 700 less and we drop from Texans, who are averaging 9 points a game, to the Broncos, who are averaging 8.6 points a game, and the matchup isn't extremely different, 12th versus 13th ranked, give me the Broncos. So we'll plug them in there. Tight end this week, guys, is much different than I normally do. I never, ever spend up at tight end. So this is really going to come down to Tyreek Hill. So basically, I love Travis Kelce this week. I think that Cleveland does a much better job on the outside receivers than they do in the inside of the part of the field. If I go to tight ends, I go to Travis Kelce. The Browns are actually ranked 24th. It's weird because I like saving at this position, but he has that upside this week, and there's no slam dunk play. I've been playing O.J. Howard and David Njoku at that 3,900 mark. O.J. Howard, they priced up a bit to 4,300, which I still like. David Njoku just gave me a dud last week, so I'm kind of sour on him. But I really don't like any of these super value plays. So I decided to switch it up this week and go Travis Kelce. We'll see if there's a line. I'm going to make a different lineup just so that I can try to get Todd Gurley in here. And of course, with Travis Kelce, I'm not going to be able to get Todd Gurley in. So this is going to be my non-Gurley lineup. And do me a favor, guys. I really want to know if you'd rather see a lineup with or without Gurley. Because you want to play Gurley, but basically people that play Gurley are going to be playing a lot of 1v1s and 2v2s because your lineup has to be pretty similar to get Gurley in, and there's pretty much a certain amount of chalk plays a week. But if Todd Gurley isn't in your lineup can be much different than the field. So I just want to know if you'd rather have the Todd Gurley lineups that make a lot of sense. I try to get Todd Gurley every week. I played him last week, played him the week before. I get Todd Gurley in my lineup. This week I might not be getting him in my lineup, but I'm going to do a lineup for both this week. I'm going to have Todd Gurley in, Todd Gurley out. But moving forward, let me know what you guys would rather see. If I could kind of differentiate and not have Gurley in, or if you're like, no, we're always playing Gurley, just put him in the lineup. So right now, we're going to do our non-Gurley lineup with Travis Kelce. Other tight ends I like here, though, are... Let's go back to tight ends. Other tight ends I do like are O.J. Howard, even though he is priced up a bit. He's still only 4,300. He has the number one matchup of the year, 32nd ranked defense against Carolina, which is kind of interesting that they can't cover the tight end like that. I don't know if it's kind of some outlier games. I'll have to dig more into that, but unless it's a matchup that I'm really trying to avoid, tight ends I don't really care too much. But let's just look at his last couple of games. I know the Chicago game was kind of an outlier. He got hurt and the offense looked like complete garbage. But ever since, he didn't miss a game with that knee injury. He came right back, catching 4 targets for 62 and a touchdown, 9 targets, 67 yards, 4 targets, 68 yards, and a touchdown. O.J. Howard just gets it done. And one big thing that I just read, because I had to double check before the video started because it makes a big difference. Ryan Fitzpatrick is officially named the starter in Tampa Bay. That's a big upgrade for the pass catchers in Tampa Bay, in my opinion. It might not affect the tight ends. Everyone wants to say that Jameis loves the tight ends, so it's going to be a downgrade. But O.J. Howard with Fitzpatrick wasn't doing bad. Like this game against the Saints, yeah, it wasn't great. But look, this was Fitzpatrick against Philly, 4 for 96 and a touchdown. I know that was skewed on one long play, but I don't think Fitzpatrick's a huge downgrade for O.J. Howard, and if anything, Jameis spreads it out more to Cameron Brate, and Ryan Fitzpatrick only likes O.J. Howard, so I don't see any dip in production from him. I think it's big help for people like Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, so it might change my lineup at the top, but at tight end, I still like O.J. Howard this week. There's no great value plays. I think Austin Hooper is solid. You know, he's not always going to get you these 10 to 12 targets. It's probably going to be more like 5-6 targets a game, 4 targets. It's kind of what he gets, but he can get these yardage marks on, I guess he had 9 catches to get there, but the thing is, when he's probably going to be around 5 targets a game, 12 yards per catch is kind of his average always, but he only has 2 touchdowns. I think that this is a week against Washington where I think that Austin Hooper has a great shot at getting in the end zone, and at 3,800, that's really what you're looking for at tight end, someone that can fall in the end zone. So Austin Hooper is a great play. Like I said, for this lineup, I'm going to go Travis Kelce. The only other places that I can possibly think of are Ed Dixon at 3,300, coming off injury. I think he caught 2 passes for 54. 2 catches, 54, but he only had 2 targets. He got in the end zone, which is good. I think this is a matchup where Russell's going to have to throw the ball a lot more, so I don't mind Ed Dixon. I just don't trust him in cash yet. Cameron Brate must be doing absolutely nothing down here at 2,600. 2 points, 4 points, 8 points. I don't trust him. He wasn't doing anything with Fitzpatrick. Not where I'm going to go. So right now I'm going to lock in Travis Kelce. And let's move on to the quarterback position, because I think that this is a little bit of a different week. First thing we got to look at is Patty Mahomes. Kid's on fire. MVP of the season so far. No questions. Like, everyone wants to talk about Todd Gurley. He's a running back. Let's be fair. I love the article this week. Everyone is having a huge debate on if Todd Gurley was valuable to that Rams team. Basically, people were saying there was 2 completely opposite sides. One was saying he's a product of the system with Sean McVay. The other side was saying no one else could go in there and do what he's doing. He makes that team go. I think that it's kind of a mix of both. I am on the Sean McVay camp of one of the best coaches we've seen in a long time. I never was a Jared Goff fan when he got drafted. I think what Sean McVay's done just for Jared Goff, making him look like an actually good quarterback, is ridiculous. They have the best offensive line in the league. But to be fair, there's not 10 running backs in the league that can do what Todd Gurley's doing, even on that team. He's still a top 5 running back, still probably a top 3 running back. I don't think he's the most talented running back in the game. I don't think that he's the best running back in the game. But he's the best player on the best team right now, so if you want to give him MVP, give him MVP. But my vote, I'm casting for Patrick Mahomes. He's just been a monster. On pace for 5,000 yards, on pace for 50 touchdowns, only 12 picks. Not so far, that's what he's on pace for. He's a baller, man. I talked about him last week about how Denver was one of his worst matchups, but he still came out and threw 4 touchdowns. It's 3 games in a row, 4 touchdown passes. 7 games in a row, 300-plus passing yards, an NFL record. Last year, only the highest amount of 300-yard games of the whole season was 6 games. In the last 7, Patrick Mahomes has done it in a row. That's just to give you some perspective of how good this kid's been. I want to watch the Tyreek Hill injury. That's huge for this team and for Patrick Mahomes. I don't think that he's not going to be the best quarterback this week without him. I think he probably still will end up with the most points. But against a tough Cleveland team, ranked 4th against quarterbacks in Cleveland without Tyreek Hill, I'm probably going to shy away from Patrick Mahomes 7,100, especially in cash. He's going to be in some tournament lineups because he can go for 40 anytime, but he's not going to be in my cash lineup. Let's finally talk about my guy. They do not give my man Cam Newton any respect. I gave you a stat last week. I said Cam Newton has only 1 game less than 24 points in his last 6. I feel like I write about Cam every week. He's finally being priced appropriately. So look at him last week, right? I guess he was priced low, playing against the number 1 ranked defense. But he's Cam Newton. He got 28 points. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter if he's only going to complete 20 to 30 passes a game. He's never going to throw over 300 yards one time. But he's going to throw 2 touchdowns, and he's going to run the ball for 50 yards, and he got in the end zone. There's just no other quarterback in the league. Closest thing is Deshaun Watson to what Cam Newton can do. basically around the goal line, he is their fastest player, their strongest player, their biggest player. He calls his own number because who can stop him? A linebacker? No, he's too fast. Who can stop him? A corner? No, he's too strong. Who can stop him? A lineman? No, he's too fast. It's just, he's the perfect weapon. I've always called him the Russell Westbrook of the NFL. The most athletic player in the NFL, hands down. Cam Newton at 6,600 is being priced up, but it's because he's going up against Tampa. This is the second highest over-under of the week at 54 points. Carolina gives it the most points in the league. Cam Newton needs to get what to pay off this price? Like 23 points. And if you look at his last games, he's got 28, 25, 24. This one game, he's been under 24 points in the last 6. And it still was 18.3 points. So I'm not shying away from Cam Newton. I love Cam Newton this week. I think that's a smash play. But I think there's one absolute smash play this week, and it's Jared Goff. He's 6K. I wrote about it in my article. Let's see what I said exactly about Jared Goff. I said Jared Goff, typical Jared Goff week 8. When a team scores at least 21 points, minus the Seahawks game where both Cooks and Kupp got hurt, Goff throws at least 3 touchdown passes and averages 33 points a game. Goff plays up or down to his competition. You're telling me that the Saints, who are actually a favorite at home in a 60-point over-under, aren't going to score 21 points? According to Vegas, they're going to count for, what was that, 31 points, 32 points? So, if you just look at his games when teams score, 21, let's see what he got. 35-23, 30 points. 38-31, 42 points. Seahawks game I was telling you about, 19 points. Green Bay game, 26.5 points. And he always gets 3 touchdowns. He didn't get 300 yards, but it doesn't matter. 26 points for 6K, slam dunk. So I think Jared Goff's the play this week against the Saints. I think that you can make a case for Russell Wilson in what I wrote about being probably a higher scoring game than the Seahawks will want to play. The Chargers are a great team. I think people disrespect how good the 5-2 Chargers are. Their only 2 losses are to the 2 best teams in the league right now, with the Rams and the Chiefs. So I think that this isn't going to be a game where the Seahawks can just run the ball the whole time. I think that he's going to have to be closer to this 36, 33 passing attempt mark. And when he does that, I think he's going to go closer to his 300 yards a game. This is awful for Russell Wilson. He's not running the ball, so I don't love the play, but it is a contrarian play. I think it's good to save money there. Matt Ryan at 5,700 is an absolute steal. He's been the second best quarterback so far in fantasy. The Redskins are all right. They're not world beaters. He's much better at home. I'll give him that. But I'm not shying away from Matt Ryan this week. I think that's a great spot to save 300 coming down from Jared Goff to Matt Ryan. So if I need it, that's what I'm actually going to do. But let me just plug Jared Goff in there. Let's get to running backs. Because there's a few, this is going to be the non-Todd Gurley lineup, and I'm going to do something a little bit different. I just want to see what it looks like. So, at running back, there's a few guys I really like. So basically in my article, I always go from cheapest to most expensive. So I say Crowell at 4,200. The reason I like Crowell isn't his production lately. It's the fact that we have an injury to Bilal Powell for the rest of the year. So he's going to be by himself. 4,200. Wow, I was looking at 5,200 range. So as you can see, he hasn't been that great lately. Awful, actually. Less than 8 points in the last 3 games. But look at this stat that I pointed out. And I talk about how Crowell's production is extremely different in close games that the Jets can win versus games that the Jets lose handily. A lot of people were on Crowell last week. I didn't really love it because I thought they were going to get killed by the Bears. But so far this season, in the 3 wins for the Jets, Crowell's averaged 22 points compared to only 7 in their losses. So, the Jets are a team that wants to run the ball. If I look at the Vegas odds, they're only 3-point underdogs. I think it's a super winnable game. And when they're in winnable games, where do they win? Indy, 7. Don't worry about that because we're going to win the next one. Denver, 33. Detroit, 25. So he gets a lot more attempts. Even when they won and he didn't do good, he still got 13 carries. He still got 2 catches. So I think at 4,200, Isaiah Crowell is pretty cheap. I love him if you need salary cap space. He's not where I want to go because I think there's better slam dunk plays, but Crowell at 4,200 is a steal. But since he's my lowest, let me just go up the list a little bit of who else I like. Nick Chubb. I want to play Nick Chubb. We just got word that Hugh Jackson's been fired and Todd Haley's been fired, which I don't love. I like Todd Haley running that offense. They haven't looked great, but I don't like Greg Williams, who they named their interim head coach, which is the defensive coordinator. But look at Nick Chubb in the last 2 games. 18 attempts, and he even got involved last week with 3 more targets. Kansas City is a team where, especially with a young quarterback like Baker and a good defense, you're not going to want to try to run with Kansas City when it comes to putting up points. You're going to want to establish a run game, protect your quarterback, slow down the game, and I think that Nick Chubb always has the ability to break a long one. 8 yards a carry, 4.5. He had a rough go last week. That's why I was off him, because Pittsburgh's actually really tough. But at 4,500, getting 20 touches a game, that's ridiculous. And it's a great matchup. Kansas City can't stop a nosebleed. Phillip Lindsay ran all over him last week. I like Nick Chubb a lot. I'm going to plug him in as my value play. The other value play that I like a little bit more than Nick Chubb, but because I have Kelsey, I think I won't have enough money for him, is Latavius Murray. I tweeted out a stat about Murray saying that in the last 4 weeks, he's averaged 80 rushing yards a game, scored 20 plus fantasy points in each of those games, averaged 16 carries, and he scored 4 touchdowns. He's been an absolute monster with Dalvin Cook, and this is another great matchup for him against the Lions at home. I'm laughing because my dogs are being crazy out there. But I love Latavius Murray this week. I think that he is a slam dunk at 5,100. Look at him, 20 points, 22 points, 25 points. He's just getting it done. I think this is a game where they win. I think this is a game where they control the ball. Chris Carson just went in there and ran all over Detroit. And I don't think Latavius Murray is great, but I think he's a lot better than Chris Carson. And I think that the Vikings will give him all that he can handle. I would think Murray's a great play at 5,100. But right now, I don't think I can get him in there. Another great play. I like Kenyon Drake this week. Let's see how he's been doing. 23, 18, 10, 24. So great last 4 weeks, actually. But I think it's kind of tough on efficiency. He's only had 6, 13, 6, and 12 attempts. Hasn't gone over 72 rushing yards. He's getting involved in pass game, which is great. 4 touchdowns over that span. But in a great matchup against the Jets, I like Kenyon Drake, but I think there's better spots to attack. I think Latavius Murray 5,100 is much better than Kenyon Drake, but I don't mind this play, especially in tournaments. Phillip Lindsay got it done last week, guys. 20 points in his I'm the main guy role. So I love Phillip Lindsay, but I don't like him a lot this week in a tough matchup. I think that you can do better at the price tag, and especially Chris Thompson. 5,400. I know he's been hurt the last couple weeks, but he gets a matchup with the Falcons, who cannot stop any pass-catching running back. They gave up, 18 catches to Alvin Kamara, gave up 12 to Christian McCaffrey. People that can catch the ball out of the backfield is the Achilles heel of Atlanta, and I know that there was Adrian Peterson week last week, but I really think that Chris Thompson is, because Atlanta can't stop pass-catching backs. He's been hurt with that knee and those ribs. I think it was ribs. Doesn't say. But, suffered another rib injury. Okay, that might be important. So maybe I don't like Chris Thompson, guys. This is live. We're just going to play it off. But if he goes, I just think that at 5,400, he's a good chance to catch 6-7 passes. And I love that at 5,400. Carry on in a feature role, caught some passes last week, but it's not a place where I'm going to look. Adrian Peterson was a stud. If Chris Thompson can't go, probably going to have to roll him out there again at 6,000. I wrote about it in my article last week. If you guys checked out the article, you guys probably made some good money with him because he was a beast with 30 points for only 4,900. I nailed his projection too. Just a little bit less on carries and yards because I didn't think it'd go like that. I know they predicted 1 touchdown, but instead he'd have 20 carries for 120 yards and touchdown last week. So that was pretty good. James Conner was my lock of the week, him and Kareem Hunt. I actually had a good week last week. I won like 85% of my cash matchups because I stacked James Conner, Kareem Hunt, and Todd Gurley. Like I said, I like to stuff Todd Gurley in there too, but can't always do it. He was a beast, 41 points. Not going to look to him against Baltimore, #1 ranked defense. The other two I want to talk about are Christian McCaffrey, because he has a great matchup. And I think a lot of people are going to go here in a high-scoring game, but I'm going to avoid Christian McCaffrey because he's 7,800 and someone I think that has a higher upside and a higher floor. And I have no clue how Alvin Kamara is 7,300, but he is. We got Alvin Kamara at 7,300. Right. What did I talk about? I talked about Alvin Kamara, and I thought it was ridiculous. Alvin Kamara. So you're telling me I can have Alvin Kamara at home in a game with 60-point over-under for 7,300? Seems too easy. Like I said, this is my favorite play of Week 9. It's Alvin Kamara, guys. I understand the caution with Mark Ingram coming back, but this dude is a stud, and they want their best player on the field to touch the ball as many times as possible. Came back to life with 26 points last week. He had 2 bad weeks with Mark Ingram there, but a bad week for Kamara's 15.5. There's a 60-point over-under in this game. He played against Washington and Baltimore, so those matchups aren't cake. So that is one thing to keep your mind on. But Alvin Kamara is somebody I am building every single one of my lineups around this week. The last guys I want to talk about are, of course, you can stuff Todd Gurley in there. Let's do Todd Gurley real quick with Kelsey and see what we can get at the receiver position. I don't think there's a lot. There's not a huge amount of value picks I like. I would probably go down to 3,900 because I know I like David Moore and Courtland Sutton. David Moore is kind of a touchdown play. He scored 4 touchdowns in 3 weeks. But he's not really getting the targets or the snaps that we want to see, but he's only 3,900. Courtland Sutton, the same thing. If Demaryius Thomas gets traded, he's a stud. Read the article. I talked a lot about Courtland Sutton because he's one of my favorite players. I like him there at 3,900. So let's see what I would do. I'd probably put David Moore in at 39. I have about 5K left per player. No one really stands out. DJ Moore stands out. Came to life last week. Gets to play Tampa Bay. Torrey Smith might be hurt still. Let me see. I'm definitely going to throw DJ Moore in there. 5,600. Funches. I love that. I don't know if I want to go both Panther receivers. Definitely don't. But here it is. Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins, guys, came to life in the most high-scoring offense in the league. Guys, 2014, this is your number 3 overall pick. He is a stud. People think that he's had some bad years, but he played with a young Jared Goff, and he played with the Buffalo Bills. So I think this is a great spot for Sammy Watkins. Tyreek Hill got hurt last week, and even before he did, the Chiefs were highlighting this guy. Got 9 targets, caught 8 of them for 107 yards and 2 touchdowns. You know, one bad game in New England, but the thing is around that, 14 points, 11.7 points, 33.7 points. I think Sammy Watkins is a stud. Give me Sammy Watkins. Let me move up the Broncos all the way to the Texans at 3K. And this is my first lineup. I like Jared Goff. Give me Nick Chubb. Give me Alvin Kamara. Give me David Moore. Give me DJ Moore. Give me all of the Moores. Give me Sammy Watkins, Travis Kelce, Todd Gurley, and the Texans. I think this is a great cash lineup. You're going to get 20 touches, 20 touches, 30 touches, by far the lead at tight end. And then I think that you have solid receivers and a solid quarterback. I like this team a lot. Real quick, let me just show you what it looks like without Todd Gurley. Say I want to go, and I'll take out Kelce. Let's take out Gurley and take out Kelce. Let's put in O.J. Howard, and let's put in Latavius Murray. And now I'm gonna put Thielen in this lineup. And what do I get there? 5,400. Let's go back to DJ Moore. Oh no, let's go to Sammy Watkins. If I can. We'll see. We'll see which one looks better. 6,000 receiver. Is there anybody I loved at 6,000? Cooper Kupp, who is playing in this game. Yeah, that's it right there, guys. He is playing, they said. According to head coach Sean McVay, Kupp is expected to play Week 9 against the Saints, and they will need him. So those are my 2 lineups, guys. In this one, we got Kamara, Thielen, Kupp. Highlighting it, I kind of like the other one better, but this is another great alternative. I think, like I said, I want to get Latavius Murray in. If you always save a tight end, go for it. Let me go back down to my defense, actually. Let's go back to the Broncos. And instead of Cooper Kupp, is that what I like to do? Nope. Let's upgrade to the healthy one. The same offense, same game. I want a receiver in this. I want to match Jared Goff with one of his receivers. So let's give me Brandon Cooks going back home to the Saints, where he got drafted. He's been a little bit down lately, but he's still kind of banged up from that injury that he had. Yep, he's kind of been worse since his concussion in Week 6. But Jared Goff, Nick Chubb, Alvin Kamara, Adam Thielen, Sammy Watkins, Brandon Cooks, O.J. Howard, Latavius Murray, or Broncos. If you want to build around Thielen, here you go. If you want to build around Gurley, you got the other lineup. That's all we got for Week 9, guys. I'm going to do one more lineup right before Sunday morning. So reach back out to me on either Twitter or hidandseek.com. I'm going to leave the link to this article in the description below because it's just great to read this while you're going through things. Also, I have an example lineup, and this lineup's a little bit different too. Goff, Kamara, Chubb, Cooks, Landry, Watkins, Kelsey, Latavius, and Broncos. So that's what we got this week, guys. Please drop a like, subscribe to the videos. I'm going to put these out for you every week. I put a lot of time in them, and I want us all to win money. So tweet me at hidandseek, watch the videos, read the articles, subscribe to the channel, do what you got to do. All right, thank you, guys.